A very good morning to you all. So today we are going to learn about the second part of The Sound of Music, that is the Shehnai of Bismillah Khan. So in our previous class we saw about the success story of Evelyn Glennie, and today we are going to see the success story of Bismillah Khan. So music has a great variety. It cannot be said that every human mind will respond to a particular type of music. So some people are devoted to classical music, but it needs a training to appreciate it. Therefore, everyone cannot like it. However, most people find it easy to appreciate vocal music. So this lesson, the Shehnai of Bismillah Khan, it contains various values that went in making this person Bismillah Khan to a Bharat Ratna holder. So his life is a perfect example of the rich and cultural heritage of India. He belongs to a well-known family of musicians from Bihar, and his ancestors were great Shehnai players. So Bismillah Khan, he started getting lessons in playing the Shehnai, and he sat for hours to practice. He sat on the banks of Ganges to invent new ragas. So very soon his hard work and devotion to Shehnai started bringing recognition, and that's what we are going to see in this lesson. So here in this lesson there are two instruments mentioned in this lesson, that is Panchi and Shehnai. So you can see the pictures on the next slide, and now we'll move on to the lesson. Emperor Aurangzeb banned the playing of a musical instrument called Panchai in the royal residence, for it had a shrill, unpleasant sound. Here, Panchai is a wind instrument. It is pronounced as Panchai in Indian English. So it's a wind instrument which makes unpleasant sound, and in Tamil it is widely known as Magudi, which is used by snake charmers, which is used to charm the snakes. So Panchai became the generic name for reeded noisemakers. Few had thought that it would one day be revived. A barber of a family of professional musicians who had access to the royal place decided to improve the tonal quality of the Panchai. He chose a pipe with a natural hollow stem that was longer and broader than Panchai, and made 7 holes on the body of the pipe. When he played on it, closing and opening some of these holes, soft and melodious sounds were produced. He played the instrument before royalty, and everyone was impressed. The instrument was so different from the Panchai had to be given a new name. As the story goes, since it was first played in Shah's chambers and was played by a ney, that is barber, the instrument was named as Shehnai. So here in this paragraph there are some hard words, that is banned means prohibited, shrill means very sharp, unpleasant means something that you dislike, generic name means a name given to a class or group as a whole, reeded means wind instruments which have reeds like the flute, revived means brought back to life, and tonal quality means sound. So in this paragraph the lesson starts with Emperor Aurangzeb. He is prohibiting the instrument named Punjai because it is unpleasant. It has an unpleasant sound. So what happens here is, as the Panchai had an unpleasant sound, there was a barber who belonged to a family of professional musicians, and he wanted to play the Panchai because he knew that the sound produced by Panchai was unpleasant. So he decided to improve the sound. So this barber took a pipe which has a hollow stem. So it was longer and broader than the Panchai. So he made 7 holes on the body of the pipe. If you have seen a flute, it's something like that. It's a pipe which is hollow from inside and has holes on it. So then he blew air into the pipe and closed and opened the different holes. He found that soft and melodious sounds were produced when he did like that. So when the barber played this instrument in the royal court, everyone liked the sound produced by it. So the royal court thought that this instrument was very different from Panchai, and so it should have a different name also. So now there is a story behind the name given to this instrument. That is, this instrument was played for the first time in the royal residence of Shah. Shah was the name given to a king. The Mughals called the kings as Shah. As the ney, N-A-I, ney, that is a Indian term used for barber that had played it for the first time. So they called it as Shehnai. So the first part is She, which stands for Shah, and the second part ney, that is a barber. So this instrument was named as Shehnai. The sound of the Shehnai began to be considered auspicious, and for this reason it is still played in temples and is an indispensable component of any North Indian wedding. In the past, the Shehnai was part of the Naubat or traditional ensemble of 9 instruments found at royal courts. Till recently, it was used only in temples and weddings. The credit for bringing this instrument onto the classical stage goes to Ustad Bismillah Khan. So here, the hard words are auspicious, that is promising to bring good fortune. Indispensable means without which a piece of work cannot be done, something which is necessary. So in this paragraph, you can hear Shehnai being played at many temples and at weddings also. The Shehnai was a part of Naubat. Naubat is a Urdu word that means traditional ensemble, that means a traditional group of 9 musical instruments. These 9 musical instruments were played at the royal court, and Shehnai was also a part of Naubat. The Shehnai was played at King's Court, in temples and also at weddings. So it is used on the stage in performance, and all the credits for that goes to the person named Ustad Bismillah Khan, who was a legendary Shehnai player, and people wanted to hear him play the Shehnai. As a 5-year-old, Bismillah Khan played Gilli Danda near a pond in the ancient estate of Damaron in Bihar. He would regularly go to the nearby Biharji temple to sing the Bhojpuri Chaita, at the end of which he would earn a big laddu weighing 1.25 kg, a prize given by the local Maharaja. This happened 80 years ago, and the little boy has travelled far to earn the highest civilian award in India, the Bharat Ratna. Laddu means a spear-shaped sweets originated in the Indian subcontinent. So, in this paragraph, when Bismillah Khan was 5 years old, he lived in an old estate named Dumaron in present-day Bihar estate. He used to play Gilli Danda. It's a old sport quite similar to cricket. So also he would go to the nearby Biharji temple. Although Bismillah Khan was a Muslim, he would go to the temple and he would sing this song Chaita in Bhojpuri language. So Bhojpuri language is spoken in the area of Bihar, and when he would finish reciting the song, he would get a big laddu as a reward, and the weight of that laddu was 1.25 kg. So this was the prize given to Bismillah Khan by the local Maharaja for singing the Chaita. So the writer says that this incident occurred when Bismillah was 5 years old, and he would get this laddu as a reward. And after 5 years, Bismillah Khan earned the highest civilian award in India, that is Bharat Ratna. So this is the distance that he has travelled in his life. So at 5 years of that age, he would get 1.25 kg laddu as a reward, and at his 80, he achieved the highest civilian award in India, that is Bharat Ratna. Born on 21st March 1916, Bismillah belongs to a well-known family of musicians from Bihar. His grandfather Rasul Bakhsh Khan was the Shehnai Nawaz of the Bhojpur King's Court. His father Baigambar Bakhsh and other paternal ancestors were also great Shehnai players. Here paternal ancestors means ancestors of the father. So here in this paragraph, we will get to know that Bismillah Khan was born on 21st March 1916 in a family of musicians in Bihar, and his family belongs to a great popular musicians, and his grandfather was a great Shehnai player. He played the Shehnai in the court of Bhojpur king. His father and all paternal ancestors, they were also great Shehnai players. The young boy took music early in life. At the age of 3, when his mother took him to his maternal uncle's house in Benares, now Varanasi, Bismillah was fascinated watching his uncles practice the Shehnai. Soon, Bismillah started accompanying his uncle Ali Bakhsh to the Vishnu temple of Benares. When Bakhsh was employed to play the Shehnai, Ali Bakhsh would play the Shehnai and Bismillah would sit captivated for hours on end. Slowly, he started getting lessons in playing the instrument and would sit practicing throughout the day. For years to come, the temple of Balaji and Mangalamaya and the banks of Ganga became the young apprentice's favorite haunts, where he would practice in solitude. The flowing waters of Ganga inspired him to improvise and invent ragas that were earlier considered to be beyond the range of the Shehnai. Here the hard words are captivated means attracted, on end means for a very long time without stopping continuously. Apprentice means trainee. Haunt means place you like, come where you like to sit, visit many times a day. And solitude means being alone, single. So in this paragraph, when Bismillah Khan was just 3 years old, his mother took him to his parents' house, to his maternal uncles. So maternal uncles means the lineage on one's mother's side. So they lived in Benares. Benares is today called as Varanasi. And when Bismillah Khan saw his maternal uncles play the Shehnai, he was very much attracted towards it. And he also wanted to learn playing it. So he started going with his uncle Ali Bux to Vishnu temple in Benares. Ali Bux, he was on duty to play the Shehnai at the Vishnu temple of Benares. So Bismillah Khan saw his uncle play the Shehnai. So he would get attracted towards it, and he would sit there for hours listening him to play the Shehnai. So slowly Bismillah Khan also started learning playing the Shehnai, and he would practice throughout the day. He never got tired, and he was so captivated by the Shehnai. So for many years, Ustad Bismillah Khan, he remained in Benares, and he would visit the temple of Balaji temple of Mangalamaya, and he would remain on the bank of river Ganga, where he would practice playing the Shehnai all by himself. At the age of 14, Bismillah accompanied his uncle to Allahabad music conference. At the end of his recital, Ustad Fayaz Khan patted the young boy's back and said, "Work hard and you shall make it." With the opening of the All India Radio in Lucknow in 1938 came Bismillah's big break. He soon became an often heard Shehnai player on radio. Recital means performance. So here, when Bismillah Khan was 14 years of age, he accompanied his maternal uncle Ali Bux to the Allahabad music conference. So Ustad Fayaz Khan, he was a very popular classical vocalist. He was impressed by his performance, and he said that if he would work hard like that, he would make some name in the field of music. So when All India Radio started, it's a radio station at Lucknow, Ustad Bismillah Khan started performing from there. So often his Shehnai performance would be on air, and he became a often heard Shehnai player on the radio. When India gained independence on 15 August 1947, Bismillah Khan became the first Indian to greet the nation with the Shehnai. He poured his heart out into Rag Kafi from the Red Fort to the audience, which included Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, who later gave his famous Tryst with Disney speech. So in this paragraph, we come to know that Ustad Bismillah Khan was the first Indian to greet the entire nation through Shehnai on the Independence Day. So he played the Shehnai from the Red Fort on this memorable occasion, and the rag that was played by Ustad Bismillah Khan on the occasion of independence of India was Rag Kafi. Rag Kafi, R-A-A-G-K-A-F-I. He played it from Red Fort. After his performance, the first Prime Minister of India, Nehru, gave his famous speech, Tryst with Destiny. Bismillah Khan has given many memorable performances both in India and abroad. His first trip abroad was to Afghanistan, where King Zahir Shah was so taken in by the maestro that he gifted him priceless Persian carpets and other souvenirs. The King of Afghanistan was not the only one to be fascinated with Bismillah's music. Film director Vijay Bhatt was so impressed after hearing Bismillah play at a festival that he named a film after the instrument called Kunj Udi Shehnai. The film was a hit, and one of Bismillah Khan's compositions, Dil Ka Khilona Hai Toot Gaya, turned out to be a nationwide chartbuster. Despite this huge success in the celluloid world, Bismillah Khan's ventures in film music were limited to two: Vijay Bhatt's Kunj Udi Shehnai and Vikram Srinivas' Kannada venture Sanadi Apna. I cannot come to terms with the artificiality and glamour of the film world, says with emphasis. So here chartbuster means record breaker, celluloid means old-fashioned way of referring to films, venture means project that often involves risk, something which has a lot of risk. Emphasis means to lay stress or something. So here in this paragraph, we can see that Bismillah Khan gave many performances in India and abroad. Some of them are memorable, like the one at Afghanistan. So the King of Afghanistan, King Zahir Shah, he really liked Bismillah Khan's performance, and he gifted him many things which were made in Afghanistan, like Persian carpets, etc. So that Ustad Bismillah Khan, he would remember his first visit abroad, that was to Afghanistan. So the king of Afghanistan was not the only one to be fascinated with Bismillah's music, but the film director Vijay Bhatt, he was also impressed after hearing Bismillah playing at a festival, and he named the film after the instrument called Kunchudi Shanai. So there were many other people also attracted to his Shanai musics. This film Udi Shanai was the name of a Hindi movie. It was made by Vijay Bhatt. He was a film director and he really liked the sound of Shanai played by Bismillah Khan, and that's why he named this movie as Kunchudi Shanai. So there was a song in this movie named Dil Ka Khilona Hai Toot Gaya. It was composed by Ustad Bismillah Khan and it has become a chartbuster. It broke all the records, and although this song was a chartbuster, Bismillah Khan, he got a lot of success in this film, but he composed music only for 2 films. The names of the movies were Kunchudi Shanai made by Vijay Bhatt and a Kannada movie made by Vikram Srinivas called Sanadi Apna. Ustad Bismillah Khan would say that he did not like the artificial worlds of films and glamour that was there in the film world. That was why he did not compose music for many movies. Awards and recognition came thick and fast. Bismillah Khan performed all over the world. He performed in United States of America at the Lincoln Central Hall. He performed in Montreal, Australia in the World Exposition. He performed at Cannes Art Festival, and he also performed in Japan at Osaka Train Fair. So well known he did become internationally that an auditorium in Tehran was named after him, Tahir Mosque Ustad Bismillah Khan. So Bismillah Khan, he performed all over the world. He performed in United States of America at Lincoln Central Hall. He performed in Montreal, Australia in World Exposition. He performed at Cannes Art Festival, etc. He performed in so many countries. And there was a famous place, Tehran, an auditorium. It has been named after him also. National awards like Padma Shri, the Padma Bhushan and the Padma Vibhushan were conferred to him. Here conferred means given, usually an award or a degree. In 2001, Ustad Bismillah Khan was awarded India's highest civilian award, the Bharat Ratna. With the coveted award resting on his chest and his eyes glinting with rare happiness, he said that, "All I would like to say is, teach your children music. This is Hindustan's richest tradition. Even the West is now coming to learn our music." So when Ustad Bismillah Khan received India's highest civilian award, Bharat Ratna, in the year of 2001, his eyes were shining. It was glinting with happiness, and he was very happy, and because his hard work has been recognized, and he gave a very important message to the country. He told all the Indians to teach music to their children because music is the richest tradition of India. He said that even the Western countries wanted to learn India's music. In spite of having travelled all over the world, Khan Sahib, and as he is fondly called, is exceedingly fond of Banaras and Jamran, and they remain for him in the most wonderful towns of the world. A student of his once wanted him to head a Shanai school in USA, and the student promised to recreate the atmosphere of Banaras by replicating the temples there. But Khan Sahib asked him if he would able to transport river Ganga as well. Later he remembered to have said, "That is why whenever I am in a foreign country, I keep yearning to see Hindustan. While in Mumbai, I think of only Banaras and the holy Ganga, and while in Banaras, I miss the unique Matha of Jamran." Here, replicating means making a copy of something, and yearning means longing, having a desire for something. So, although Bismillah Khan had travelled all over the world, he was given so much respect and recognition, he remained rooted. Benares, where he learnt music, and Jamran, where he was born and brought up, were the 2 most wonderful towns of the world to him. He was so down to earth, and he was very humble that although he had travelled all over the world, still he was attached to his birthplace. So there was a student of Bismillah Khan, and he wanted him to set up a Shanai school in USA. He promised that he would recreate the temple of Banaras in America for Ustad, as he would miss it. Now Ustad was very much attached to river Ganga also, so he asked his student that would he transport the river Ganga also to America. So what he wanted to say was he could not leave India because he was very much attached not only to the temples of Benares but also to the holy river Ganga. Ustad Bismillah Khan, he said that whenever he visited any foreign country, he longed to see India. He wanted to return India, and then he says that when he was in India in Mumbai, he yearned to visit Benares and the Ganga river. And when he was in Benares, he missed his birthplace Damran and he wanted to go there. Ustad Bismillah Khan's life is a perfect example for the rich cultural heritage of India. One that effortlessly accepts that a devout Muslim like him can very naturally play the Shehnai every morning at the Kasi Vishwanath temple. Here, devout means believing strongly in a religion and obeying its laws and following its practices. So here the writer says that Ustad Bismillah Khan was a perfect example of the rich cultural heritage of India, and his works were beyond the religion barriers. So although he was a strict Muslim, he followed the Muslim laws every morning. He would play the Shehnai at Kasi Vishwanath temple, which was a Hindu temple. So this shows that he did not have any barriers of religion in his mind. He was a true Indian. So he considered music to be the India's richest cultural heritage. Ustad Bismillah Khan passed away 21st August 2006 at the age of 90 after a prolonged illness. He was given a state funeral and the government of India declared one day of national mourning. So Ustad Bismillah Khan, he had been ill for a very long time and he died on 21st August 2006 at the age of 90, and the entire country mourned the death of this legendary musician. So there was a holiday for one day and he was given a state funeral. So that's the end of this lesson, and Bismillah Khan is a true example for a secular Indian as being a Muslim, and he played the Shehnai at the Kasi Vishwanath temple. So for him music was about religious barriers, and I hope you all understood the lesson very well. Keep on reading the text again and again, and thank you so much for watching.